How's it going, everyone? How are you doing? Welcome back to the Elite Battle League channel. Today, ladies and gentlemen, we're getting into our week 1 roundup for the Elite Battle League. We're going to be going through all 6 matches, talking about all the shenanigans that happened this week, because there was quite a bit of stuff that happened this week. We had nearly 2 sweeps. We had a few dominant wins, and we had a couple wins that were very close. We had 2 really good battles. The rest of them were pretty one-sided for the most part. So yeah, before we get into all that, check out all the coaches in the description. That is where you're gonna find all the matches. All 12 coaches should be in the description down below. Check them all out. Go subscribe so you not miss any matches. This next week coming up is a big one. It's a really big week, so it's gonna be intense. It's gonna be insane. So yeah, there's gonna be that. Check out all the coaches, go subscribe so you not miss any of that. Subscribe, of course, to the Elite Battle League channel right here, right now, so you do not miss the weekly roundups, power rankings, top 5 fails, and top 5 plays. It's a ton of fun. The 2 guys who do the top 5 videos, they killed it this week. Lionheart killed it with the power rankings this week, and I did all right. I messed up with the editing. I'm sorry. But with all that being said, let's get right into it. First up, we're going off a schedule order from our Discord. First up, we have the Atlanta Bravery. Sorry, moving stuff around on my screen. We have the Atlanta Bravery versus the Detroit Luxuries. Now, coming into this match, Matty Ice, who is coach of the Atlanta Bravery, had a win streak over the Detroit Luxuries. The Atlanta Bravery had not lost to the Detroit Luxuries at all in the Elite Battle League. That all changed this week. The Detroit Luxuries walked away with a 6-2 victory over the Atlanta Bravery. Nearly got a reverse sweep with Zapdos. I mean, they picked up 5 straight kills before it finally went down. Of course, walked away with the weekly MVP as well. It did incredibly well to rack up those 5 straight kills. It took out Genesect, Ninjas, Crustal, Heracross, and Excelgor. Vikavolt was the only one standing. Makes sense. It makes sense that Zapdos wouldn't be able to take it out, and it would go down. It was getting progressively weaker, I believe, as time went on. So naturally, when it wasn't able to take out Vikavolt was able to return and kill it to at least stop the reverse sweep and make the score just a little bit better. I will say that Matt already used Ninjask better than Derek did in the entire time. Always my videos had Ninjask. Just throwing that out there. Just had a poke shade at Derek. The Dynamax Heracross was not a bad idea when it got the Baton Pass speed boost from Ninjask. I don't know. It's a tough one with Heracross. It is a pretty hard hitter, but it's not guaranteed. It's not one of those super strong Pokemon that when they get that speed boost, they're going to start one-shotting everything, even without an attack boost. It did not do that whatsoever. I believe it got 1 kill. It did manage to, yeah, it killed Kyogre, which is a pretty big kill to go against Max's Luxuries, but ultimately it went down to Zapdos, and then that's when Zapdos just turned around and started wrecking shop. Picked up 5 straight kills. It was really good predicts from Max. He did manage to solo Dynamax. He was predicting really well. He played really well. That Kyogre kill early was big, but ultimately Zapdos just came out and went Dynamax got the speed boost from the Max Airstream, and that was clutch because that made sure it outsped everything on Matt's team. And it nearly reverse swept. It really, once Zapdos came out, this match was not close at all. There was a little bit of back and forth at the beginning, but then Zapdos came out and it just started one-shotting everything pretty much. And it was not close. So good job to Max. Like I said, his predictions were on point, his timing was on point, his execution was on point, and he came up with a really big win over Atlanta in that one. Moving on, we have the Essex Espeons versus the Iowa Incineroar. Essex walked away with their first win of the season in their title defense. They got a 6-3 victory. That Zoroark start was huge because, to my knowledge, and from what I remember from watching Inferno inside, he didn't realize it was Zoroark until its disguise went down. So he thought it was Mimikyu the whole time. That played into Pidge's favor, and Zoroark did the agility right away, which was really smart because it managed to get a couple kills and some damage off. It did its job. And you know what? I will say, I didn't even know if I wrote this down or not. I don't think I did. Pidge played much differently than we expect him to play. He's usually a lot more defensive and switch heavy, but this match he played really offensive. The fact that he just let Zoroark go down, he was just sending out Pokemon, and he was just staying in with them. He was committing to the attack. He did really well to be able to switch from a defensive mindset to an offensive mindset. He did incredibly well, adjusted well, and it paid off in dividends because he controlled this match for the most part. Yeah, like I said though, the Zoroark lead gave him momentum, and I think that was what was really big. The Mienshao, there was the Mienshao misplay from Landon. Mienshao is what eventually killed the Zoroark. But Landon decided to fake out on turn 2. Now from watching from Pidge's point of view first, I thought maybe he just wanted a clean switch and he was just trying to let the Mienshao go down. But according to Landon, he completely forgot that that fake out doesn't work on the second turn. Then the inner focus Crobat took a fake out from Mienshao eventually. The terrain was also up at the same time at that point, so the fake out didn't flinch. I'm not sure. I don't think Misty Terrain cancels out priority moves. I think you just can't flinch, because I'm pretty sure it's Psychic Terrain that cancels out priority moves. But at the same time, Crobat still had inner focus, so that misplay, it's more about knowledge of the Pokemon, I guess. And then eventually the real Mimikyu came out late and did really well. Like I said, Pidge just controlled the match well. He got kills when he needed to. He committed when he needed to. He executed this week. He executed, did what he had to do. According to Landon, on his side, a lot of his prep revolved around Eternatus. And this is where, this has happened to plenty of coaches where you prep around one strategy or one Pokemon. Not necessarily your whole game plan, but you have checks for it, and then when that Pokemon doesn't come, those checks are kind of useless. So that was rough. When Weavile came in, to me, that was like the only point that I thought Landon, okay, I was thinking in my head, I was like, all right, Landon, this is when you can start pulling it back. This is when Weavile can get a couple kills. And it did. It got a couple kills. But then it died. And then from that point on, Pidge just started to really take over at that point. Espeon didn't touch the field. I did write it in my notes, say switch offense for defense, or defense for offense. But yeah, ultimately there were a couple misplays for Landon, and maybe his prep wasn't the best for this match. I think Pidge had a really good game plan. That Zoroark lead gave him all the momentum, and Pidge decided to switch up his sort of play style for this match and decided to go more offensive, and that fully paid off, and he walked away with a really good victory here. So good job, Pidge. Moving on, we have the Texas Tyranitaries versus the Florida for Alligators. This is the Florida for Alligators' second match going to timer. There was a bit of stalling. The wall rain, from what I saw in the Doorman's video, the wall rain was not intentionally really meant to stall. He just wanted to set up a couple curses and then, start ice fanging. But you got to know there's that risk with the rest talk set that you're just going to keep setting up, and that's going to stall because the wall rain was obviously taking more and more hits. Florida did manage to walk away with a 5-2 victory. The Barraskewda coming in at the end didn't really need to happen. The Lugia could have stayed in, and he would just. I think honestly, Lionheart just was tired of getting stalled again, and he just wanted to finish the match, which is fair enough. But if he kept Lugia in, it would have been a 5-1 instead of a 5-2. To be honest, yeah, because Barraskewda was the last kill of the game, and that gave Jirachi a kill, which is great. But the Walrein had a rest talk set, and was just cursing though. It kept cursing, and the doorman was getting visibly frustrated that it wasn't using Ice Fang, because it would have hurt the Lugia. It would have definitely hurt the Lugia if he used Ice Fang, but he decided to rest again to be able to take those hits better, which I mean, I guess is more stalling on that side. But it was rough. There was a communication error, but it really wasn't that impactful. Thankfully, it was early enough in the match, so that way they just did the first, I believe it was 4 turns, and they were able to just resume. That didn't really do too much. I think that the Claydol lead was great because it gave him Trick Room. He was able to take a hit, and it gave him Trick Room. The set he had on Claydol is exactly what I would expect on a set for Claydol. screens, probably Trick Room, and then maybe just a random attacking move. He decided to run Explosion, which did good damage against the Barraskewda, but ultimately, I mean, it really didn't make too much of a difference. The Trick Room was stalled out by Lionheart, so it didn't really make too much of a difference. He did halt the Barraskewda, which was good, but ultimately it just came back around, and you know, Lionheart was able to run this out again. I think Lionheart he is the master at stalling out Dynamaxes. That Roost Lugia with the multi-scale set is nasty. It's like almost impossible to take down quickly. So he did incredibly well there to take down that the Dynamax stalled out Manectric. It just basically had momentum the entire match. I mean, Lionheart easily should have won this, probably 6-1 if it wasn't for the Rest Talk and the Wish on the Jirachi as well with the Calm Mind. Probably should have been 6-1. I get Alan's point of view, wanted to, you know, get a better KD, even if it is just one kill, but I think Lionheart was just really frustrated with that one. I'm not surprised because of last week as well. But regardless, like I said, he had momentum pretty much all the way through. He controlled the match all the way through and ultimately walked away with the win in that one, albeit he had to hit the timer again, which is not fun. So yeah, GG's to Lionheart. Next up, we have the Commissioners Battle of the Week. Probably one of the best comebacks we've seen in the Elite Battle League, period. We had the DC Starmers versus the Kentucky Kinglers. The Kentucky Kinglers scraped away a victory. They walked away with a 6-5 win, a very impressive comeback. And you know what? I gotta say it, Derek has to be like at least top 2 best battlers to have ever touched the Elite Battle League. This dude, give him whatever team. He's becoming Lionheart. Give him whatever team and he's gonna win. It does not matter. The man has experience. The man has the knowledge. He has the skill. He has the beard. That's all you need. That's the recipe, you know, like Powerpuff Girls, Sugar Spice, everything nice for Derek. It's them skills. It's the beard. It's the experience. That's all he needs to be an amazing battler. He just continues to prove that no matter what team he has, it doesn't matter. He's gonna find a way to scrape away some wins. The guy has never been below 500 in his entire Elite Battle League career for a reason. So with this one, it was definitely in Timmy's favor for a large portion of it. Derek called the Galvantula prediction as a start, so that's why he decided to start Cloyster instead. Ultimately, it's a good thing he didn't let Cloyster die or anything like that, because it paid off later on in the match. 3 of the first 4 kills went to Timmy. Just keep that in mind, all right? Timmy was up 3-1. Derek had only 3 Pokemon left. Timmy still had 5. And Derek just started to work all the way back. I mean, the Dynamax Archeops was kind of the turning point for Timmy. It seemed like that felt like when Timmy took down the Dynamax Archeops. It was, you know, that was the turning point when Lycanroc came in and killed the Archeops. When Lycanroc was Dynamax, killed the Archeops. It seemed like, oh, this, okay, I think this might, even Derek was calling it, this might be, you know, this is it for Timmy. I mean, this is it for Derek. Timmy's got it. And then probably the biggest play of the game, Cloyster comes in on the Lycanroc. Lycanroc, if I remember correctly, had like somewhere between like 15 to 30 HP, somewhere in that range, something like that. Cloyster comes in and Ice Shards, and it gets a crit Ice Shard. I honestly believe that crit mattered. I think that crit really mattered. I don't think the Ice Shard would have killed the Lycanroc. If it did, it would have been close. It would, I don't know. It's a tough one. I think that crit mattered, to be honest. So it crit Ice Shards the Lycanroc, takes down the Dynamax, and that was massive because if Lycanroc kills Cloyster, Cloyster can't get that extra kill. I believe it got on Rotom Mo. Yeah, Rotom Mo comes in after the Lycanroc. Cloyster kills it with an Ice Shard, and then it gets some good chip damage on the Urshifu before going down, but it did its job. It got the spikes up, which were big. It got 2 kills. It killed the Dynamax Pokemon, killed another Pokemon before it went down, and got good chip damage on the Urshifu. It just did so much work, and like I said, it's a good thing Derek didn't let it die earlier in the match, because later on it paid off, and that was massive. And then I believe it was, who came in? I think he sent in Galvantula next, or I think he sent in Blaziken next. The Blaziken U-turned into Galvantula. But before Blaziken switched, I believe it killed the Urshifu, and it killed the it killed the Urshifu, and it killed the Starmie. It one-shot Urshifu with Acrobat, or what move did he, close combat. I think it was close combat acrobatics. I don't even think it gets acrobatics. It one-shot the Urshifu regardless, with whatever, however much HP the Urshifu had left. It one-shot the Starmie with U-turn, and then goes out to Galvantula, and then I believe it's Mamoswine kills Galvantula, but it was on so little HP that Blaziken outsped and killed it. So a massive comeback. Blaziken and Cloyster just combined to wreck the 5 Pokemon Timmy had left, and ultimately Derek was able to walk out of that hole. But man, experience. It was huge for Derek. He's now 2-0, which I don't think anyone saw coming. So he's doing amazing. I love Derek's face when the Blaziken killed the Starmie. I think he started to believe in that moment. Derek got really quiet once that Blaziken started taking off. Once Cloyster got a kill and then Blaziken killed the Starmie, Derek got really quiet because he couldn't even believe it. When he got that last kill on Mammoth, he just had a surprised look on his face. He was like, oh my god. So that was huge. That was really funny to see, but it was just a huge victory for Derek, and a big comeback. That's got to be heartbreaking for Timmy. Another really close match for him, but he didn't even play bad. He nearly had it in the bag, but you can never count Derek out. That guy is always in the running no matter what. So an amazing match. Congratulations to Derek. An amazing comeback. GG's guys. Moving on, we have the Tijuana Gengar versus the Walton Wingles. This one's pretty cut and dry. Honestly should have been a sweep. Sorry, Nate. I think Luigi played it a little safe with the Poltegeist. He could have shell smashed one more time and that thing would have swept. He played it safe though. I can respect that, but it still got 3 kills. I was very confused by Nate's perspective. He said the Poltegeist shell smashed right in front of him, and then he Dynamaxes, and Nate says, I don't know what he's trying to do. My guy, he's trying to sweep you. That's what he's trying to do. He's trying to sweep you, my dude. Like, I don't understand that statement from Nate. I don't know what he's trying to do. He's trying to sweep you. He's trying to get a lot of kills here. Like, I don't really get that. That just goes to show the experience is not quite there yet. Not to mention some of the moves on some of his Pokemon and the abilities were just kind of weird. Corviknight having Steel Wing instead of Iron Head, because Iron Head is a way better Steel type move for Corviknight. It had Brave Bird, Drill Peck, and Hurricane, which doesn't make sense to have all 3 of those. Like on a Corviknight, you want to take like Roost, you want to take something else, a non-attacking move on Corviknight, because it benefits a lot from the non-attacking moves it gets. I would know. Give it a screen, give it bulk up, substitute, protect, even something. Don't give it 3 flying type moves. It doesn't make sense, especially considering I think its special attack, it doesn't even match its attack. So honestly, you just see Drill Peck and Iron Head. Those are the 2 main moves you want on Corviknight. It didn't really make sense with that set. But yeah, that statement just kind of told me everything I needed to know about this match. I honestly thought Poltegeist was going to sweep. Even with the 1 shell smash. But ultimately, it only got 3 kills. I say only. It got 3 kills and then got taken down eventually by the, what was it? The Ninetales, I believe it was, that came in and killed it. Then Chandelure got a couple kills. Chandelure killed Ninetales and Aurorus. But then Machamp came in, killed the Chandelure. Buzzwole came in to finish it off. Buzzwole 7-0, by the way, across both these matches. The current season MVP frontrunner. 3 Pokemon for the Gengar didn't have to touch the field. And I'm going to keep saying it. I called it. This is the most explosive team in the league. The big problem for Luigi right now is if someone comes in and just shuts down the setup. That's going to be where he's going to struggle, or maybe they set up in front of him. That might be where he's going to struggle, but he's got an explosive team. I've said it from the beginning. He's got an explosive team, and I think it's only a matter of time before someone really does shut him down early, and I think Luigi is going to have something in his back pocket for that, though. We have really yet to see him have to truly battle yet. I mean, he really hasn't had to battle yet. These first two opponents, myself included, just got blindsided and taken down. I mean, it's simple as that, you know. So it's definitely been a really good start for Luigi and a bad start for Nate. This match honestly probably should have been a sweep. It really was not close, and never at any point was I like, okay, he took down the Poltegeist, he can bring this back. I was like, nope. Chandelure came in and got another kill. I was like, yeah, the other 2 Pokemon really don't stand too much of a chance. Machamp did manage to take down the Chandelure, but then I was like, well, Luigi still has 4 Pokemon, so it really wasn't going to be a close one. So GG's to Luigi. You're getting off to a fantastic start to the league, to this season rather, and I'm interested to see if you can continue to pick up on that explosiveness with your team. So GG's. Moving on, we had the Los Angeles Inferno versus the Indiana Igli Bluffs. This one was intense. So I managed to walk away with a win, 6-4 win over the Igli Bluffs. This match was incredibly fun. It was just a lot of fun to go back and forth with Bob. For the most part, I say I had most control of the match. The stealth rocks were huge because I had more leeway when I switched. Bob was taking chip damage every time he had to switch. There were a couple points where it turned to a switch fest that favored me. I think I made a lot of great switches. I think I made a lot of great predictions, and it all paid off. The Magyarna really wasn't a problem. The Sableye was neutralized. The Snorlax, now you might question, why did I Dynamax Duraludon? Why was it not Gigantamaxed? I had gotten it prepped the day before and I forgot to do that. Second of all, why did I Dynamax late? I was afraid of the Snorlax. I just didn't want it to become a problem later on. Snorlax is a really annoying Pokemon, and I just didn't want it to be a problem later on. My Mewtwo was more built for Cinderace than it was for Dragonite, to be honest. So in hindsight, I would have left Thunderbolt at home and brought Ice Beam, and I would have been able to finish the match at 6-3. But I had Bob at 5-1 at one point, and his Dragonite came in and just started to wreck shop. It was annoying. Thankfully, he didn't have Roost on it. He had D-Dance instead, which I think Roost would have been... he probably would have won if he had Roost, to be honest. But regardless, the first hacks that went against Bob, some karma here. His Scolipede hits my Magmortar, gets flame-bodied with like 7 HP left. I protected. The burn kills the Scolipede. And then the bigger one, in my opinion, I came in with Thundurus. Thunder Waves the Dragonite on its turn 2 of Dynamax. It got paralyzed once. So I was like, okay, I still want my Thundurus to die. I even said in the video, I want my Thundurus to die. So I just stay in and taunt, whatever. And it gets paralyzed again. The Dragonite gets paralyzed again, and its Dynamax gets wasted. It gets no extra boosts. It gets nothing like that. And it gets wasted, which was huge, I think, for me. I had to, when I U-turned, I had to switch to Magmortar. I didn't want to send in Mewtwo to take a hit. Hindsight, that was a really good decision. It's not really how I thought about it in the moment, but I sent in Magmortar, it died, so I was able to bring in Mewtwo on a clean switch. Nearly killed it. Like, this is where I say, if I had Ice Beam, would have definitely killed it. Nearly killed it with a Psychic. Honestly, I was really surprised. Bob was surprised too. We were both surprised that Dragonite lived that Psychic. It lived on like 13 or something like that, or maybe 20, something along those lines. But then Excadrill was able to come in and finish off the Dragonite. So it was very scary at the end with that Dragonite. But I think I played really well to shut down a lot of Bob's Pokemon. I think I have a really good matchup against his team. I did prep for the Cinderace, but thankfully I didn't prep around the Cinderace. I was more worried about Magyarna and Snorlax and a little bit of Dragonite, although I should have been a little more worried about it apparently. But ultimately I think I played really well and walked away with a pretty deserved victory. Not to say Bob played poorly. Bob's Bob. He's a great tactician. He knew what he was doing. It's just the Stealth Rocks kind of ate him alive in that match. And that double para was massive. I don't know if I would have been able to pull it off if that double para doesn't happen, or even that flame body on the Scolipede as well. That maybe could have changed a couple things. So some hacks went my way, but I still think I played really well. I think we both played really well, and this was just a really good match. Very, very entertaining to play. And I don't know, was it entertaining to watch? That's on you guys. So yeah, GG's to Bob. I walk away with my first win of the season. Bob walks away with his first loss of the season. So that's that. For all the matches this week, pretty intense week. Some matches were not very close, some matches were pretty close. So it's definitely setting up for a really interesting third week. And speaking of which, let's get into my week 3 predictions. This is going to be a fun one. Let me go ahead and find Stone Fam's predictions here. I have them in the Discord. I'm gonna list mine and then I'll list his. I don't know if I can find it. But for me, first up we have the Iowa Incineroar versus the DC Starmies. Two teams that have not played poorly, I would say. Their last matches did not go their way, obviously. I do think Timmy played better of the two. across both their matches. Week 1, I'd say Landon played better actually week 1. But this week, and in both of their losses, I think Timmy played well. I think honestly they're quite evenly matched. Like Timmy has a really good team, Landon has a really balanced team. This is going to be a really even match, and I think it's all going to come down to prep. I know I say that a lot, but this match especially is going to come down to prep. And then I know there's gonna be a couple key in-game decisions that's gonna cause someone to win. I'm gonna go ahead and back the Iowa Incineroar. I think they have a bit more of experience, and I think that might help them more in this matchup. I honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if Timmy was a part of another 6-5 here. But I'm gonna back Landon, Inferno, man, the Iowa Incineroar. I think that they're gonna walk away with the win this one. I think it's gonna be really close. But I think regardless, they walk away with the win. Moving on, we have the Detroit Luxuries versus the Tijuana Gengar. Is this the week Luigi finally gets shut down? I don't think so. The Detroit Luxuries, though, they played incredibly well this week. This was definitely a strong showing from them in that 6-2 victory. They both had 6-2 victories. But obviously Luigi had a sweep in week 1, so he's got a little bit of favor in that one. Of all the people who know about setups, it's Max. I mean, he's been guilty of it before in past seasons, particularly in season 1, about constantly setting up. Now, whether this is going to come back to bite Luigi now or later, I think at some point it's going to bite him in a loss. This is tough. I'm going to back TJ. I think Max is going to have a strategy, though. I think it's going to come down to that. If Max can shut down the explosiveness, Max has got it. I don't know what else Luigi can do against the rain. I'm sure he'll have some kind of strategy, but I think if Max, and I know he will have a way to stop the explosiveness of Tijuana, then he'll have that win. But I'm gonna ride the Gengar wave. I think that they just know what they're doing with their team, and they're just gonna keep freaking destroying teams left and right. This could be a really strong season for them. Moving on, we have the Florida for Alligators versus the LA Inferno. Right now, the for Alligators honestly should have had a 2-0 record, but they're currently 1-1, just like the LA Inferno. It's a pretty big matchup between the two of them. They're from the same conference, not the same division, but this is still a big matchup. The LA Inferno are still currently sitting in last despite the victory. I believe the Florida for Alligators jumped to third or second. So it's a big matchup because if LA Inferno win, there's a good chance that they jump up at least 2 spaces within two places within the standings, and the Florida for Alligators will drop down. So this is a really big matchup for both of these teams. It's going to be really intense, really back and forth. I think, honestly, if we have to go purely based off of strategy, I got to back the Florida for Alligators. He keeps saying, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. But, Lionheart's going to come out with something. It's going to be really annoying. So I'm going to back him, I think, just purely from a strategy standpoint, from a tactical standpoint. I think he's got the upper hand in that match. So I'm gonna go ahead and back him. I know I said I back myself every week. That was a damn lie. Moving on, we have the Texas Tyranitaries versus the Kentucky Kinglers. Allen last week was just a bad matchup for him in my opinion, but he's still making a few misplays here and there, and his sets aren't really working out. I think Derek has the experience. I think Derek has the tactics and the strategy. My confidence in Allen, the doorman, has wavered quite a bit in these last couple weeks, whereas my confidence in Derek is through the roof right now because I can't believe he's doing that with the team he has. So I'm gonna back Derek. He's gonna go down 5-0 and then turn around and reverse sweep. Doesn't matter. This guy's gonna win. This guy's gonna win. We're gonna back Kentucky Kinglers in that one. I just think he's got the experience right now, and he's really showing his battle prowess with the Neely Battle League this season. So I'm gonna back Derek on that one. Moving on, we have the Essex Espions versus the Indiana Igli Bluffs. Probably the toughest match to try and predict this week. These two have two of the most balanced teams in the league. This has been the highlight match I think we've all been looking forward to this season, the rematch from last season's championship. That championship match, I'm not gonna lie, sorry you guys, it was pretty disappointing. It was not the most entertaining match. It was a massive switch fest. It was just not fun. Neither player wanted to commit, and ultimately it costed Yeltsin the win. So hopefully we get a better match here. We saw Essex come out with a new, sort of play style. They played a lot more offensive this week, so maybe he'll bring some of that heat in this matchup against Yeltsin. So I don't know, because I feel like Yeltsin should be 0-2 right now. I'm gonna back Pidge. Clearly Pidge has what it takes to flip the switch, turn it around, play from offense to defense. So I think honestly, if he does really well to maneuver that during the match, switching from offense to defense, offense to defense, offense to defense, he can outmaneuver Bob's team. Like I said, though, the two of them have two of the most balanced teams in the league. So this is gonna be a really close match. They're both great at building their teams. They're both great at their prep. So I think that isn't going to really be a factor, because I think they're both going to come prepared for this match. I think it's going to be in-game decisions that cost one of these people to win, especially. That happens especially when it comes to Bob. Bob is really good at making some solid in-game decisions and predictions, and I think he has one of the better battle styles in the league, at least in-game, when it comes to those in-game decisions. But I think Pidge being able to flip from offense to defense is going to be key. So I think he's more than capable of doing that. So I'm going to back the Essex Espeons, but I would not be surprised if this match went either way. It's a really tough one to call. Moving on, though, with the final match of the week, we have the Atlanta Bravery versus the Walton Wingles. I'm back to the Atlanta Bravery. I'm sorry, Nate. You really haven't shown me too much to give me a reason to pick you. I think experience and Matt just knows what he's doing in the Elite Battle League. Nate, just that statement's gonna haunt me forever. I don't know what he's trying to do. He's trying to sweep you. Like, that statement just told me everything I need to know and gives me all the more reason to not pick him. I'm sorry, Nate. Hopefully you show me up and really, put on a performance this week, because it's now or never, pretty much, for the Walton Wingles. And the Atlanta Bravery are not coming off of the best performance this season. So they're definitely going to be on revenge, on their little revenge tour here in week 3. So I'm going to back the Atlanta Bravery. I think they walk away with the win in that one. Let me find the commissioners' predictions. Let me see. Hold on. Give me 1 sec. All right, the commissioners' predictions are the Detroit Luxuries, Iowa Incineroar, Florida for Alligators, Kentucky Kinglers, the Indiana Igli Bluffs, and himself, the Atlanta Bravery. So we're kind of we're mostly on the same page. We disagree on a couple of them, but for the most part, we're on the same page. So those are his predictions. My predictions were I already forgot. The Iowa Incineroar, Tijuana Gengar, Florida for Alligators, Kentucky Kinglers, Essex Espeons, and the Atlanta Bravery. So to all those that did not pick, get out there. Like I say every week, get out there and show me up. Make sure you prove me wrong, and that includes myself this week. And get out there and prove me wrong and get those wins. But with all that being said, that's going to be it for this week's roundup. If you guys enjoyed the video, and if you're new here, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Check out all the coaches in the description. Go subscribe to all of them so you do not miss a single match from this season. This week 3 is turning out to be a doozy. It's going to be a really tough match for everyone involved. So you do not want to miss any of that. Go subscribe to all the coaches, and also subscribe to this channel, the Elite Battle League channel, so you not miss any weekly roundups, power rankings, top 5 plays, top 5 fails, and all that good stuff. And check out the EBL Twitter down below. And of course, be sure to share this also with your friends, family, everyone you know. Let people know the Elite Battle League is where it's at. We'll see you guys in the next. Bye.